Hey everyone, happy Saturday. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for a Pocket with Jo. Now we have a slate today, and we do have some games going. We were unable to get Alex Leon over his safe shots on goal prop because the St. Louis Blues just could not get those shots in that game. The Red Wings ran away with that one with the nice big win. We're gonna try to make some money here today. So let's start looking at these live games that are happening right now. With the Tampa Bay Lightning up 3-0 over the New York Islanders. Now, this is one where I was riding that first period over 1.5, and the Tampa Bay Lightning were able to do that themselves. We have seen 3 out of the 4 last meetings between these two actually go to overtime. So I do think there's value right now on the New York Islanders plus 3.5 at minus 132, even though you're laying some juice there. I don't see this being a huge blowout win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That live total of a 4.5 is minus 128 to the over. So I would lean towards the over in that. Now, looking at the Montreal Canadiens and the New Jersey Devils, I did like Montreal coming into this. Montreal has played really strong in New Jersey, winning the last 3 matchups. Right now, this game is tied 2-2 apiece with 11 minutes left in the third period. We have a total of 5.5 at plus 106 to that over. Both of these teams will try to lock down on the defensive side, but we know that's not their strength. So I would lean to the over 5.5 at plus 106. I do think if one of these teams scores, the other one has every ability of tying it up, or we will get that empty netter in this one. Although they should play cautiously on defense, that's not what these two teams are about. Montreal plus 126 is a live dog here. I do think is in play as well. Looking at the New York Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers. Now we have an insanely low scoring a game in this one. I do have the Flyers team total under 2.5. That was at plus 116 pregame. So if you want to jump back in on their team total, you're going to get a low number now. And I don't think you're going to get any value. Live line here is that 4.5 at minus 130 to the under and plus 102 to the over. I do think this still stays under the 4.5. I expect whoever scores here. Now they're going into that second period, scores first, wins, and I do think it is the New York Rangers. This line scared me going into it, though. You guys are now minus 146 on the money line. Pre-game, they were minus 137. My problem with the line was that I thought the New York Rangers should have been a bigger favorite, like the minus 180 mark. So it scared me a little bit. I did put some money on the New York Rangers on the puck line. You can jump on the puck line for the New York Rangers at minus 1.5 at plus 200 now. And I could see them winning this 2-0 in this matchup and 3-1 at worst. So I do think the Rangers still have value. The next game coming up here, you guys. And I want to thank you guys all for joining me here today. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Let's make some freaking money out there. That's for sure. So we're looking at the Washington Capitals taking on the Florida Panthers. This game kicks off at 6:10 Eastern. We have the Washington Capitals coming in at plus 195. The Florida Panthers at minus 240, a total of 6.5, minus 138 to the under. And I completely understand why this one is to that under. We look at both of these teams and their strength. There's a lack of goal scoring here for the Washington Capitals, even though they have been scoring as of late. They've been lighting up the lamp. I just don't think they'll be able to do it versus the Florida Panthers in this matchup. The Florida Panthers have been so phenomenally strong at limiting their opponent's ability to get these goals. You look at them in that last game, and they are off the loss versus the Carolina Hurricanes. 1-0 win for the Canes in that one. They have dominated this matchup versus Washington, winning the last 8 matchups, and the last one was back in February on just the 8th here this month, winning it 4-2. So I do think the Florida Panthers are the right side here. Again, you're looking at the Florida Panthers at minus 240. So that puck line laying 1.5 is coming in at plus 104. That scares me a little bit, that puck line, but I do think it's the only way that I could go if you're looking at a side. I can't get behind the Washington Capitals. They failed to cover the puck line in the last 4 meetings versus the Florida Panthers as well. But I do think the under is in play. You could look at the Washington Capitals team total to that under. I just wasn't liking the value I was getting on it, but I think this full game stays under the 6.5 at minus 138. TJ Oshie also out of the lineup here, being hurt in his last game versus the Lightning. I can't remember if it's upper or it's a lower body injury. That's what it was for Oshie. So he will not be out there. We know how highly impactful he is for the Washington Capitals. I do think they struggle to score in this one. Okay. And yes, Washington is on a 3-game win streak. That is for sure. They are rolling hot right now, beating the Lightning 5-3 in their last game out. Let's look at the Boston Bruins versus the Vancouver Canucks. Now, the Boston Bruins are plus 100. The Vancouver Canucks at minus 120, total 5.5. 5.5 juice to the over at minus 134 and plus 110 to the under. Looking at these two teams, I do think Vancouver to get right back at home here is a good look. You look at them, they've lost their last four. Last on Thursday was to the Seattle Kraken. They lost that one 5-2. Boston's coming off some really hard games. I look at the amount of overtime that they have gone to, and it scares me for this one versus Vancouver because Vancouver can be so strong offensively. They lost that last game in overtime to the Calgary Flames after getting the win in overtime versus Edmonton. And when we look at them, I believe their last four games have gone to overtime, or a shootout. So this is going to be a struggle here versus the Vancouver Canucks, who are back home, who have lost their last four. This team absolutely needs to turn things around. This is a hard Pacific road trip here for the Boston Bruins. They do have the Kraken on deck still to finish up this road trip. And looking at Vancouver, this is their first game home off a three-game road trip, but it was an unsuccessful road trip, one that they absolutely struggled out there. Now, I do think minus 118, the line seems a little short here in this case, and so I'm willing to get it here with Vancouver. Quinn Hughes has been phenomenally strong for the Vancouver Canucks. You look at his ability to get those assists, 57 assists from the blue line this season. I love him here for 2+ points in this game. I do look for this one to be a higher scoring game here with tired legs out of the defense of Boston. And we know in these games, Boston has been fighting their way back into a lot of these games, just like we've seen out of Edmonton. So I do think Vancouver can go up fast in this one. Quinn Hughes for the 2+ points is coming in at plus 250. So I like that look there for him. So Vancouver, I tell you about it. They've really got to get their power play clicking. When you look at the Vancouver Canucks on the season, their power play is converting at 22.5%, but they have gone on a dry spell on their power play. They have only converted on one of their last 28 power plays. So that needs to come to life today. And that's going to be really hard versus the Boston Bruins. They are killing those penalties at 81.8% of the time. And now Vancouver's kill is at 78.5. So they got to be very careful in this one not to get in the penalty box. And the last time these teams matched up, earlier in February, we did see the Boston Bruins at home get the shutout win. Vancouver is going to be coming for payback in this one. So I do like Vancouver in this matchup. Let's look at the next game on the ice. I see all of your comments coming in. Capitals plus 1.5 with no Kachuk or Bobrovsky. Yeah, I could see them keeping it tighter. I'm not sold on the puck line there for the Florida Panthers. I think the under is the safer way to go. You look at the Capitals, they failed to cover that puck line in the last four, but we're just not getting very much value on the Florida Panthers on that puck line. Their defense has been so solid. So I do think that under is the best way to look at that one. You're going with the over in that one. Boston 4-3-3 in their last 10. I like the Flames. Oh, I love when people like the Flames to be able to get something done. Let's see if they can get something done versus the Edmonton Oilers. Battle of Alberta. It's going to be absolutely insane tonight. Now, we're firstly going to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Colorado Avalanche. We know this Leafs team is so hot. They won their last 6. Austin Matthews absolutely setting records out there. The Leafs play up to teams and they play down to teams. And I do think this is a game where they play really up to Colorado tonight. So let's look at current lines on this one. The Toronto Maple Leafs at plus 102, minus 122 for the Colorado Avalanche, total of 6.5, minus 142 to the over and plus 116 to the under. It does scare me here that we're getting such value on the Toronto Maple Leafs with how strong they have been playing. Samsonov expected in net tonight and Georgiev here for the Colorado Avalanche. Now the Avs are off that overtime loss to the Red Wings. It was a 2-1 loss in that one on Thursday on the road. So they're coming back off, I believe it was only a 1-game road trip. They won this matchup back in January 5-3. Now you have Austin Matthews versus Nathan MacKinnon. You have two of the hottest players in the league right now going up against each other. And I am going to count on the fact that both of these teams can lack defense at certain points. Both of these teams also love to play a high scoring offensive game where you're seeing these playmakers rack up those goals and those points. So I'm going to play into that here. I know it's the last leg of Toronto on the road. They do face Vegas on a Tuesday at home, but I think with how this team is rolling so hot, I can't fade them here. So I'm going to look at taking this one over the 6.5. I do think it hits. It's juicy though, minus 145. The both teams to score in the first period is a better way to take that first period total instead of just the over 1.5, because the over 1.5 is minus 156. So you guys know I'm not going to lay minus 156 on a bet. But the both teams to score in the first period is plus 144. And I would not be shocked if Austin Matthews scored and then Nathan MacKinnon scored. And that was our first period, because both of these players are so phenomenally hot right now. Nathan MacKinnon riding that point streak at home, 27 points straight at home for him. And then Austin Matthews, we know he's been flying 10 goals in the last 5 games. So phenomenal play out of both of them. Austin Matthews for the anytime goal is minus 120. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take Austin Matthews for the anytime goal for half a unit. And then I'm going to put a quarter unit on Austin Matthews for 2+ goals. That's coming in at plus 500. And then I will take him for 3+ goals. So the hat trick coming in at plus 2100. I think there's so much value splitting up one full unit there over those 3 bets for Austin Matthews. And I'm going to do the same thing with Nathan MacKinnon. Nathan MacKinnon for the anytime goal at minus 110. 2+ goals for Nathan MacKinnon at plus 550. And then the hat trick 3+ at 2250, I believe it was at. So again, splitting that up one unit over those 3 bets, with the main bet being just that anytime goal. Now you can look at points if you want out there. I don't hate the point market either. You're going to have to take both of these players for 2+ points before you get any value out there. I also think a sneaky player to look at is Cale Makar for the anytime goal. He's coming in at plus 340. But like I said, I really do think this is a high offensive battle out here. We know both of these teams can play in them. And I know Colorado's coming off that 2-1 game versus the Red Wings. So lower scoring, their defense really stepping up. It's going to be really hard to contain the Toronto Maple Leafs here. This team has been flying out there on the ice. They're coming off the win versus Vegas, where they put up 7 goals on the Vegas Golden Knights. They're averaging 3.68 goals per game and 33.1 shots on a net. Their power play is converting at 28.4%. Their kill's not phenomenally strong at 77.6. They're allowing 29.8 shots on goal and 3.13 goals per game. And Samsonov, not completely sold on him. And when we look at Georgiev here, same thing for Colorado. Well, I do think this defense is a bit stronger, and their numbers don't really support a stronger defense than the Leafs. It's goaltending that really struggles, in my opinion. So I do think Georgiev will struggle in net tonight, just enough for us to go over and for some of these props to hit. So that's where I'm going with this game, you guys. It should be a good one. Yeah, I would hit the 7 as well. Joe, I don't hate that one to go over the 7 if you're getting a value. Minnesota getting that win over Edmonton. Yeah, it was a great one there last night. Okay. Let's look, and now Edmonton has to play a second night back-to-back versus Calgary. We'll see what happens there. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Ottawa Senators. Now, huge trends on why to bet Vegas here. They won the last 9 meetings over the Ottawa Senators. I'm just not sure how much I'm sold on Vegas tonight. They lost their last 2 games, and the last one was a loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs 7-3. They were at home in that one, and then they have to face Toronto back on Tuesday in Toronto. So while it's a couple days away, I know it's Saturday. Jack Eichel still questionable if he will be in the lineup tonight. I'm not finding any player props on him. I'm not finding confirmation. Mark Stone is out. They were saying lacerated spleen is the reason why Mark Stone is out. I haven't checked the injury report to see if that's exactly what it is as of today, but he's still listed as out of this game. Now, Vegas did win the last matchup 6-3 in dominating style, but I tell you, I think the Sens at home, they're off that big win versus the Dallas Stars. That was a 4-1 win on a Thursday. I just like their scheduling spot a lot more. Logan Thompson back in the lineup and in net tonight for the Vegas Golden Knights. He's got a 2.74 goals against average and a 907 save percentage. Anton Forsberg here for the Ottawa Senators getting the start. He's got a 3.10 and an 895 save percentage. So you do look, Logan Thompson's numbers have been better on the season. I just don't really trust Vegas that much in this one. I do think it could be a higher scoring game though. And I think if you're going to look at some player props, probably the best way to go because we're getting so much value. Without Jack Eichel and Mark Stone, you've got to look at players that will really step up. You guys know I like William Karlsson here, the Vegas Golden Knights. His anytime goals coming in at plus 200. And then looking at the Ottawa Senators, because I do think they are so impactful in this game, and we can see those goals coming in. Could it be a 4-3 style game? It absolutely could. So I'm going to look at Brady Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk for the anytime goals, plus 145, but you guys know I like to look more at those value players. You look at Josh Norris here for the Ottawa Senators. He's coming in at plus 250, and Vladimir Tarasenko's coming in at plus 290. I think both of those players have every opportunity of finding the back of Logan Thomas's net tonight. So going to take this one to that over, and I'm going to put a little bit of money on the Senators, but here's the problem with me right now. Again, this line looks too good to be true for the Vegas Golden Knights. And that's why I've really got to lean on the Ottawa Senators more than Vegas, because Vegas is a better team. They're rolling into Ottawa. I know there's a look ahead situation, but they shouldn't be minus 102 here. I would have thought they would have come in at minus 140. So with the Ottawa Senators at minus 118, I do think they're the right side. I think the books think they're the right side. And I am leaning towards taking them straight up on that puck line, laying 1.5 at plus 188, because there's just so much value there. I could see them winning this one in a 4-2, 5-3 style game as well. And I do think it goes over that total. So the 4-2, probably not, but I think this is a higher scoring one, and the Sens have every possibility of the look ahead. Okay, let's look here. The Dallas Stars are taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, before I forget, Logan Stankanoff is Kanovan, I think you say. Logan is getting the start. He's making his NHL debut. Now, he isn't a goalie. He's the leading AHL scorer, and he's going to get a start here with the Carolina Hurricanes in his debut. And I do think, while you can't find that on FanDuel, that he's going to be hugely impactful. I'd look at his points if you can get Logan Stankoven. That's what it is. For those points out there on the board, I think he's going to be phenomenally hot. You look at him in the AHL, he played for Texas, 47 games, 24 goals, and 33 assists. So he's been so impactful in the AHL, leading in goals, and I do think he can come out and make that huge splash tonight. Now, it's going to be hard. Jake Ottinger is in goal for the Dallas Stars, so it's going to be a hard one, but one that they can do. Now, I'm going to look at a couple things in this one. So just giving you current odds, the Carolina Hurricanes at minus 137 and plus 114. For the Dallas Stars, we have a total of 6.5, minus 130 to the under, and it's under for me all day long. I look at what Carolina's been able to do on the defensive side of the puck. They're holding opponents to 25.1 shots on goal per game. Their kills phenomenal at 84.4%. And yes, they have a very strong power play, converting at 27.4%. So the Dallas Stars need to stay out of the box in this one. While they have a solid kill, the Canes will convert. But I do think the Dallas Stars struggle to score in this one. They've lost their last 4 games. They lost to the Senators on Thursday, 4-1. This team just isn't lighting the lamp. So I'm going to fade their team total, the Dallas Stars team total, under 2.5 at plus 118. I think they absolutely struggle to score on Kochetkov here in net for the Carolina Hurricanes. He's got 3 shutouts on the season now. I would stay away from his save shots on goal today. Just like Alex Leon wasn't able to go over his save shots, even though he had a phenomenal game earlier in the day. The Carolina Hurricanes, they won't let him get peppered out there. So it's going to be a really hard number to go over. But he's been absolutely phenomenal in net, and I do think Dallas struggles to score on him. This team is averaging 3.64 goals per game, but they've lost their last 5 games as an underdog. This is the last game of a road trip that just isn't going well at all. So I do think we can fade their team total to the under 2.5 at plus 118. 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two have gone to overtime as well. So something to look at. Okay, I'm seeing all of your comments out there. Yeah, the Dallas Stars are in a funk. They need to get back home in this one. Let's look at the Minnesota Wild taking on the Seattle Kraken. The Kraken are rolling hot right now. Can they continue hot? You just look at some of these wins they've been able to get, and I am blown away. The New York Islanders have gone up a goal. So if you grab the Islanders plus that 3.5, you're sitting in a nice position right now. It's a 3-1 lead for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The New Jersey Devils have pulled away from the Montreal Canadiens. I hate to see that. I wanted to see it flip, but if you did take the over in that game, you are in a nice situation as the New Jersey Devils are leading that one 4-2. So that over 5.5 live bet did cash, and we're still not seeing goals between the New York Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers. Still 0-0. But let's get back to the Minnesota Wild and the Seattle Kraken. Just let me find odds on this one, you guys. The Seattle Kraken minus 140 and plus 116 for the Minnesota Wild. That is a total of 5.5 minus 134 to the over 5.5 and plus 110 to the under. Now, Jared McCann, Joe, you are right. He's coming off his first 4-point game in that last one. He was absolutely fire out there. My problem here with the Seattle Kraken is I don't like the minus 140 price mark to jump on this team. I think all the value is on the Minnesota Wild, and I know the Wild can be inconsistent at times, but this is also a team that knows how to win. They got the win over the Edmonton Oilers, and that was a hard-fought battle. They won that one 4-2, and they're 6-1-1 in their past 8 games. So this is a strong team. And when we look at the Kraken, they got the nice win over the Canucks 5-2. They're playing such solid hockey. It's really hard to take a side in this one. If I was taking a side, it would be the value on the Wild, but I don't love it, you guys, because I do think the Kraken are hot. I'm going to take the under 5.5. Now, I know these teams have been involved in some higher scoring games. I love the value on the under 5.5 at plus 110. I really do think 3-2 game that probably ends in overtime. I think they battle it out hard on the ice. So give me the under 5.5 in this one. I would stay off those player props just because I'm looking for this one to go to that under. Joey Decord for his saves to the over. Yeah, that's definitely something you could look at here. We look at the Minnesota Wild averaging that 30.1. The Kraken have done a better job at limiting their opponents, but still right around that 30 mark as well. Okay, the Nashville Predators are up next, taking on the San Jose Sharks. This looks like a slam dunk here on the Nashville Predators to get the nice big win, but I'm not sure if I'm completely sold on it. Could we see the upset of the night being the San Jose Sharks at plus 180 getting the win over the Nashville Predators? I don't know, you guys. The Preds have been playing fantastic hockey. They're minus 220 here. Total of 5.5, minus 140 to the over, plus 114 to the under. Now, if you like the Sharks plus 1.5, it's coming in at minus 137. And if you like the Preds laying the 1.5, that's coming in at plus 114. What I'm going to do is the Preds have won 8 of the last 10 meetings. They've been very solid versus the Sharks. It's the first night of a back-to-back for the Predators with the Ducks on deck tomorrow to finish a 5-game road trip. I could see a little bit of underestimation coming in here for what they're going to face out of the Sharks in this. The Preds' first period, though, I think they're going to be absolute fire coming into this. They're coming off a nice big win over the LA Kings in their last game out 4-1. I think they bring that momentum. They dominate in that first period. Now, they have covered the puck line in the first period in the last 2 matchups versus the Sharks. So that puck line laying half goals coming in at plus 128, and that's where I'd rather go with this team on a road trip, first night of a back-to-back with the Ducks on deck tomorrow. 2 light opponents after getting some big wins. This is where I kind of look for those letdown spots. Also, look at the Sharks. They have lost their last 4 first periods overall. So they lost that last game. They got shut out versus Vegas. They're going to be ready to come out and put some points or some goals on the board. I just don't think they do it in the first period. So the Nashville Predators, first period, puck line at plus 128 for me. Let's get over to the Calgary Flames versus the Edmonton Oilers. Now, this is Battle of Alberta, and if you live in Alberta, you know this rivalry is absolutely insane. You don't want to go to the opponent's ice or to the opponent's rink in a different jersey or go out to those bars after in that different jersey because it can get rowdy, you guys, that's for sure. But Calgary's plus 155, minus 184 here for the Edmonton Oilers, in total 6.5. Minus 132 to the over 6.5 and plus 108 to the under. Looking at the goalie matchup, I'm really surprised. It's actually Dan Vladar in for the Calgary Flames today and not Jacob Markstrom. We will see Skinner in for the Edmonton Oilers. They started Pickard last night versus the Minnesota Wild, which just didn't work out for them, but Skinner's been strong, and Edmonton has been strong versus the Calgary Flames. Coming into this one, I do expect those goals to come out. With Edmonton losing their last two, it's really hard to fade this team, especially at home. We know how strong they are, and they've been notoriously strong versus the Calgary Flames. The value is on Calgary tonight, but I can't put my money on the money line for Calgary. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at a couple of things here. I do think because it's going to be a higher scoring game, you can look at Calgary's team total to that over 2.5 at minus 148. I do see this playing out as a 3-4 style game or a 3-5 style game. I do think Connor McDavid gets on the scoreboard tonight. We know he's been struggling to find the back of the net, and I do think the value at plus 115 for Connor McDavid for an anytime goal versus his arch rival team here in the Calgary Flames has so much value. Looking at playmakers for Calgary, Connor Zary has been phenomenally strong out there. The young rookie has been lighting the lamp on so many occasions this season. I can't get past his value at plus 350. So I will be hitting on him as well. But a playmaker to look at, one of the older guys, Nazem Kadri out here. He's coming in at plus 210. He's been phenomenally strong as of late. It's like he's kind of bought into what Calgary is doing with all of the trade rumors coming out and everything like that. Kadri has been stepping up. So I like that. I do have a same game parlay that I will be hitting on in this one. And it's basically those 4 bets. So I'm betting all of those 4 bets singly. But if you parlay Calgary's team total over 2.5 at minus 148, Connor McDavid for the anytime goal at plus 115, Connor Zary for the anytime goal at plus 350, and Nazem Kadri for the anytime goal at plus 210. That is paying plus 33.38. So I'm going to put a couple dollars on that. Would be a nice big payout if those props all hit and then Calgary goes over that team total. So that's what I'm doing. It's going to be a crazy one. Calgary plus the 1.5. I do think, Edmonton is going to be pissed off. That is for sure. So we will see what happens in this one. I think Edmonton probably comes out and scores right away, right out of the gate. If you look at that goal in the first 5 minutes, I think it's going to cash tonight. Calgary has been starting off these games pretty hot as well, but you look at Dan Vladar, and the last time we saw him in net, it's been quite a while, and I do think Edmonton should hit him quick. So if you want to take Edmonton for the first goal, I wouldn't blame you. Remember, Calgary is such a strong team at being able to come back and get the wins. You got to, if Edmonton goes up like 3-0 in that first period, take Calgary on that puck line plus whatever you're getting there, because we have seen Calgary battle back to get these wins. But that's been Edmonton's MO as of late as well. Edmonton has been going down in these games. The one that really stands out to me is the Arizona Coyotes game, where they allowed the Coyotes to get 3 goals and they end up coming back and winning that 6-3. The overreaction of the books on that money line is insane. So hitting those teams on the money line or that puck line, if you really do have faith that they have the ability to come back. There's puck luck always in hockey. So looking at those shots, watching the game, and just really seeing what's happening. Now, don't forget, I will be live on SportsGrid tonight. So we will be live betting all of these games, talking about all the action across the full slate of hockey, NBA, college basketball, everything that's happening. We'll be talking some UFC as well tonight. So make sure you join me over there. And we got one more game, though, to talk about before you go anywhere. The Anaheim Ducks taking on the LA Kings. The LA Kings, definitely the better team here. We know that. They're coming in at minus 275 at home on that money line and plus 220 for the Anaheim Ducks. Now, total of 6.5, juice to the under at minus 134 to that under. I think this could be a situation where the Ducks are quacking tonight. And I don't say that very much. You guys know I don't have a lot of faith in the Anaheim Ducks, but I look at this matchup and I look at the look ahead situation here for the LA Kings. They're off that loss to the Predators 4-1 in their last game out. They have an insane Pacific road trip on deck. They have the Oilers on Monday, the Flames on Tuesday, and the Canucks on Thursday. They are sitting fourth in the Pacific Division. They have to, while the Ducks are sitting seventh in the Pacific, yes, they have to get the win over the Ducks, but the opponents that they have are all sitting right there with them. The Flames sitting fifth in the Pacific, the Edmonton Oilers sitting, I believe, third in the Pacific, the Kings sitting, or they don't play the Kings, the Canucks are sitting first. So they have such a hard battle coming up. They don't play themselves. I just said the Kings. They have such a hard battle with these three Pacific opponents that are so strong in front of them. Maybe not the Flames, but you look at them versus the Oilers and the Canucks. It's going to be really hard. So I am looking at this one for a situation where the Ducks could keep it tight. I'm going to take the Ducks plus 1.5 at minus 112. You guys know the second I am doing that on an underdog, it's because I do believe they have the opportunity to win. So I do put a little bit of money on that money line. I'm also putting money on the overtime in this game. The overtime coming in at plus 390. I just really think the Kings overlook them and fight to come back in this one. If you're looking at goal scorers for the Anaheim Ducks, that's where my money is going to go. Leo Carlsson at plus 410 and Ryan Strome here at plus 410. Both of those guys for the anytime goals. I think one of them connects tonight. Now you got John Gibson versus David Riddick here for your goaltending matchups. It's going to be an insane game, probably lower scoring because the Kings are so strong on defense. So I would look at that one to the under as well. And again, that total is 6.5 at minus 134. I'd be okay taking it under 5.5 as well. Okay, we've got the Rangers scoring. Let's look at those live lines, you guys. We have the Rangers up 1-0 over the Philadelphia Flyers. If you want to jump on the Rangers still on that puck line, laying the 1.5 is coming in at plus 102. I don't hate that. I still think the under is in play in this game. We got 7 minutes left in the second period. The under 4.5 is minus 142. That would be my live take on this. We have seen the Islanders score another goal, so I really hope you guys jumped on the Islanders when we started this show, plus the 3.5 when they were down versus Tampa Bay Lightning. We now have a 4-2 game for the Tampa Bay Lightning in that one. So that's where we're at, you guys. Everything just locked up. Let me know, the Lightning and the Islanders, someone has done something. Oh, we're the end of the third period. So we did get the Lightning on that puck line. Are we the end of the third? No, we should be going in. Sometimes on FanDuel, it's kind of confusing to see where these lines are at when these periods end because they really don't say it nicely. But this one kicked off at 2 p.m. Eastern. We are 4:30 Eastern. So yeah, that one should be finishing, but we're able to get the over 1.5 in that live look. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. I really appreciate my favorite underdog of the night. Man, can I really say the Ducks? Are the Ducks really quacking tonight? Or is it the San Jose Sharks that have the opportunity of getting that win? I think it's probably the Ducks. I also think it's gonna the Senators aren't a dog. They should be a dog. They're not a dog. Calgary, I'm not sure. That's going to be a hard one. It's got to be the Anaheim Ducks. I think they're quacking tonight in this one. The Sharks, they're facing such a hot Predators team. I just hate the look ahead spot for the LA Kings. I don't think it is a great one here. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets. Make sure you join me on Game Time Decisions tonight. Yeah, the Leafs shouldn't be underdogs either. It makes no sense why the Leafs are like a minus 102 underdogs and minus 118 for the Colorado Avalanche. I don't understand that. It's going to be a great game. So you guys comment below where you're betting. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. What you're betting today, anything that you're parlaying. If you got a nice sweet parlay for us, please let us know. I love jumping on some long shot. I play parlays. I put a couple dollars on them. They're not my main bets, anything that I'm main betting. I will throw into parlay because who doesn't love to hit, the jackpot there. But you guys, all the best in all of your bets. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money. We'll be live tomorrow again for Puck It with Joe. I will post when that's going to come out. And then join me tonight. Game Time Decisions. not Game Time Decisions, in-game live from 8 to midnight. Bye, guys.